What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off Live, the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is me, Joe Orrico, back here with Casey Bubba. We're going to be bringing you through the headlines, news and notes, injuries, best bets, and all of our usual goodies here on the Wednesday Leading Off. Bubba, great to be back with you after a little bit of a break over the holiday. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Yeah, a little break, but we're back, baby. We're on our Wednesday, Friday, September schedule, bringing the noise, the goods. I don't know what they want to call it to the fantasy baseball ears the rest of the way.
We have a lot of goodies, and I want to remind you guys that this is a baseball show. I'm seeing questions about Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt and Braylon Allen in the chat. I could try and answer them, but I certainly wouldn't be giving you the greatest advice. We got a lot of stuff going on here. The Fantasy Pros Discord. We got Twitch streams, tons of YouTube videos for your football questions, so you can get those answered. Today, though, we are going to be talking some baseball. And I just want to remind you guys off the top here, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channels, whether it's YouTube, whether it's the podcast feed here on Twitch. This is a time of year where people do start, as you can see in the chat, to go over to football. And you can help us with some of that hemorrhaging by continuing to subscribe, like, comment, and do all those great things on our videos. But we're going to start with some of the headlines. And, normally I probably wouldn't have even bothered bringing this up, but Garrett Crochet had quite the stinker, and it happened against a horrendous Cleveland offense. Just looking at, August just finished, so I was looking at August stats as a whole. Cleveland had a 62 WRC plus in the month of August. They were by far the worst team. And so naturally, Garrett Crochet gets lit up for 7 earned runs, 4 homers, with some of the most unlikely characters hitting home runs off of him, Orrico and the like. Any concern here at all over the final couple of weeks with Crochet, Bubba, just considering how poor this opponent is, or are we just chalking this up to a bad start and we move on?
You got to chalk it up to a bad start. It's not like you're going to sit him anytime soon. It's Crochet. There was always a concern coming into the season when they kind of slowed him down last year when he hit a road bump again as his innings keep climbing later in the season. But it was one of those. It was 3 home runs in 1 inning that really blew it up. And it was obviously, to your point, to a horrific Guardians team, barely hitting 200 versus lefties over the last month. Just dreadful. You just kind of notched this one up to hashtag cuz baseball is the way I look at it. And now if it's multiple starts, yeah, you're concerned, but by then the season's over. So you rock and roll for 3 or 4 more trips through the rotation.
What this did, I think, is just absolutely put the nail in the coffin for the Tariq Skubal Cy Young. I think it was pretty close, and the last couple of weeks could have maybe swayed it one way or the other, but I think this pretty much secures it for Skubal. You agree, Bubba?
Yeah, it should lock it up for Skubal. Like, Crochet's been nothing short of amazing. Skubal's had his hiccups of late, but like any other pitcher would take his hiccups. They're just kind of rough for his standards. It would take some colossal blow-ups this final month for Skubal to make this interesting again.
I thought we had it when they were playing not Oakland. I keep doing it. When they were playing the Athletics, and he gave up that grand slam, and I was like, oh my God, 6 earned runs for Skubal. This is going to make it close, but there was an error, and that ended up being just 1 earned run. So I think it is Tariq Skubal's. Maybe on a show next week we'll do like final award predictions, but things are starting to solidify at this point. Another kind of rough outing from last night was Framber Valdez, 6 earned runs on 8 hits against the Yankees. It's been a bit of a tough road for Framber over the last month or so. If you look at his stats since the start of April, since the start of April, that would be the whole season. Since the start of August, 5.64 ERA. He's allowed a 300 batting average against, 19 earned runs in 30 innings. Hasn't been very sharp. Does that give you any worry about Framber Valdez? His next start will be at Toronto on the weekend against the Blue Jays. Would there be any thought of potentially setting him in a daily league for you?
It's very interesting you bring this up because we talked about it on last night's Bubba in the Bloom, like we did first half for second half player raters, and he's one of the biggest fallers in the second half. It's been dreadful, and a lot of it is due to the August performance you mentioned. There's a couple things that kind of stand out with Framber, which become very interesting when trying to decide that. First off, to your point, it is a very tough schedule for Framber Valdez down the stretch. If we're like looking at the final month of the year, you mentioned the Toronto start, which is terrifying, as you are very well aware with Houston. But then he has after and the 6-man rotation, he's got 3 more starts. That was the other part. So it's Toronto, Sacramento. So not the friendliest environments, but to the point, the walks have been up a bit for Framber. He still has it's a dreadful 7.6% K to walk. So that has been really, really bad, but also 342 BABIP. That ground ball rate, the BABIP's through the roof. So it's kind of a yin and a yang with him. Not to mention he likes to cross up his catcher and hit him in the guts with a 90-mile-an-hour sinker, which is not ideal. So you're starting him. He's an ace, but it's not comfortable.
I saw that there was a lot of to do on social media about the cross up with the catcher, and some people thought that he hit his catcher on purpose, cross him up on purpose after a big hit. I didn't see a lot of this. Did you see this, Bubba?
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty like before that when he gave up the grand slam with Grisham, the rookie catcher Salazar was trying to tell him to back off because it's not the pitch Salazar wanted him to throw. Framber wanted to throw it. He gives up the tater on him, puts it on a tee essentially. So then the next pitch was supposed to be off speed. He throws the same pitch, hits him right in the gut, which was not great. There was internal meetings with management after the game between the three of them, and the rookie basically jumped on the grenade, but it definitely sounds like he jumped on a grenade. So I don't know if where there's smoke, there's fire on this one.
Yeah, I never know. Like with a rookie catcher, is he going to be calling pitches himself? Are they coming from the manager? I don't. It's very complicated, but it looked like there was quite a bit of drama. I saw like every major account had picked this one up, and there was some drama in your neck of the woods too.
Yes.
With Kyle Freeland and Rafael Devers, it looked like there was some unhappy campers out there in Colorado. I didn't actually see that one either. I was working last night and just saw some highlights. But any insight on that one, Bubs?
Yeah, this is a PG show, so I'm gonna keep it simple. But Kyle Freeland, grow up is the best way I could say it. Devers didn't even look at him until Freeland started the fight, and then Chapman tried to slow it down, and then Willy Adames, the best teammate in the world, was about to put Freeland in his grave before that got ended. It was beautiful, and then Freeland was being held back by like a Don Zimmer lookalike, so that was pretty good. It was. Freeland comes out afterwards and says, "I've been doing this for 9 years. Show me some respect." Well, first off, when you give up almost 200 home, I researched this yesterday, as you can tell, a near 14% career or home run to fly ball. You should be used to this by now. Just throwing it out there. Not to mention Devers, not like a rookie, and if you look at the replay, didn't really show him up much. Never looked at Freeland once, and he just bat flipped and went on. It was the most it was bad. Mad Bums was bad, and I'm a Giants fan. That was bad with Muncy. This might be even worse, in my opinion.
I'm gonna have to go back and take a better look at the footage. I just saw like the little clips here and there, but it's good. Keep things entertaining as we head into the stretch run of the season. Appreciate Van Rod, gifted community sub, cheered 300 bits. We really appreciate your support all throughout the season, Van Rod. Thank you so much for that. Let's get to a bit of brighter news, though, on the pitching front. Nolan McLean, another outstanding game, 6 innings of 2-run ball on 3 hits while striking out 7. This is 4 victories and 4 starts. And it seems like the only pitchers the Mets can trust at this point are their rookies. What is your thought on Nolan McLean? How good do you think he is? And, just starting to think a little bit about next year. Top 30 pitcher, top 25, top 50. What's the ballpark for you at this point?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's been nothing short of amazing. I was waiting for yesterday to be a blow up because he gave up those 2 earned runs early against Detroit. That he settled in once again, 3 walks, 7 Ks. He's got at least 6 Ks in all 4 starts, which is great. 2 earned runs or less. He's got 4 total earned runs in 26 innings. He's been nothing short of outstanding for the Mets. I think he's in that 30-ish to 40 range just because he is still young. So I always kind of take it with the kids' gloves, literally, when I look at this. But there seems to be a level to him that could be very, very good. I don't know if there's a sophomore slump. We'll see. But you could say close to 30. I think that's fair. I think there will be some people, if he does this 2-3 more times, he might creep up towards 20 come, February.
I could see it. And this is why, you jump into some early drafts. Maybe you get a little bit of a cheaper price on him than you would once the calendar flips to 2026. But the minor league numbers are really good. The walks were a little bit of a concern, but so far it's a 7.4% walk rate. The number that shoots off the page is the 121 stuff plus, which I know is not everything, but here are the pitchers this year who have a higher stuff plus than that. It's Skubal, Crochet, Chris Sanchez, Wheeler, Fried, and DeGrom. So just on a pure stuff level, that's a decent company to keep. He looks fantastic. Will he have rookie eligibility next season? I don't think so. It's going to be close, though. It's going to be very close.
Yeah,
Forget
it'll be real close. It debuted on August 16th, so it depends if they could do the whole, hey, we're going to skip a start garbage. We'll see how that goes, but I think I'm not the expert in that. I apologize on that one.
So it's 130 at bats or 50 innings pitched. So he's at 26 in the third.
Oh, he won't get to 50. Under. They'll find a way to shrink that because even if it's 3 more starts at 6 innings, it's like 45-ish. So they'll find a way to finagle that one.
Yeah, I mean, even if he threw 7 in each of the 3 starts, he still would be just short of it. So I think that he's gonna fall short of that and get your early 2026 Rookie of the Year ballots in. because he's looking fantastic. It's too soon to do any of that, but he's looking brilliant. And speaking of brilliance, I know I'm a homer. I'm not going to beat the allegations, but I want to talk about George Springer, Bubba. Another monster day yesterday. 2 home runs. His 161 WRC plus for the season trails only Judge and Ohtani. That is how good Springer has been. Yes, he has missed a little bit of time, but a 161 WRC plus, 26 homers, 16 steals. He's hitting 305. This does feel like a dead cat bounce after how terrible Springer was last year, but I guess the question becomes pretty soon, can he do it again in 2026, and will you pay that price expecting that he will?
For an old like myself, I want to know whatever fountain of youth he has found. Dude's going to be 36 in like 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. Since he came off the IL, you mentioned his season stats. Since he came off the IL on August 16th, 381 with 8 homers, 21 runs, 14 ribbies, and 4 steals. It is ridiculous what he's doing. Now, the biggest question I have is, eventually fathers, they win. It wins. That's just how life works. He's been doing this a lot of DH. Like, do you keep running Vlad out there full time? Like, you could. He's young. I'm not saying you can't, but it definitely is something that the team wants to think about probably as things move on. If the price is right, I will still be in on Springer. I'm wondering if the price was great this year. Like, I have shares of George Springer. Going into 2026 with a season like he's put on, it's going to push up unless we have enough age haters out there, which will help the draft price. So it's tough. To your question, I don't trust a replay in 2026 because it's just hard for a 36 turning 37-year-old to do this again, but darn impressive what he's got going on.
I mean, it really is. If you look at the top 10 outfielders, there are some shockers on the list. Springer, PCA, Yelich, Byron Buxton, Hunter Goodman are all occupying top 10 spots in the outfield player rater. That's baseball for you, though. You just never really know. Look at Trevor Rogers this year, right? You can never really predict what's going to happen in a given season. And I saw somebody mention Trevor Story in the chat and the season he's having, so I'm going to skip ahead on the outline and go to him. 2 for 5 yesterday, 2 ribbies and a steal. And for the season, it's 23 homers, 25 steals, 78 runs, 88 ribbies, and a 261 batting average for Trevor Story. The amazing thing about Story is that in Colorado, he was always having really good years. Since he left Colorado, we have not seen anything even really close to this. Yes, he's been injured, but even on a rate basis, 2023, he had a 49 WRC plus. Last year, 26 games, 2 homers, 6 steals. He just 31% strikeout rate last year. He just hasn't been impressive, really, since he left Colorado. And here we are, Trevor Story, among shortstops this season, is number 7. He's been fantastic with a $24 value in 12-team leagues. And I'll ask you kind of the same thing with Springer. Do you think that Story can do this again? Would you draft him in 2026 thinking that he can have another 2020 type of year?
Oh, definitely. He'll be 33 this November. I was all aboard it this year because people were worried about the health, and it was fair, but he's been healthy this year. Anybody can break down at any moment. Not going to say he can't, but a healthy Trevor Story's never been a big batting average asset. It's all about the 2020 upside. He's always had that, even when he doesn't hit for average. Right now, he's hitting for average, as you mentioned on the season. It's been decent since August 1st. He's hitting 299 with 6 homers, 8 stolen bases, 22 runs, and 23 RBIs. Like, that's outstanding for a little over a month of baseball. He's healthy. He's thriving. And I don't see why he can't take advantage of the monster and left in Boston. There's a lot to like about Trevor Story.
Up and coming lineup. He's still relatively young. As long as and honestly, it's like the same exact thing with Springer. As long as people don't go stupid on the price, as long as he's not a top 70 pick or something like that, then I'm fine with it. If I can get him around, back into the top 100, we'll see. It's way too early to figure out where guys are going to be going. But as long as the prices don't get out of hand, I could see myself being in on both Story and Springer next year. Let's talk about Jazz Chisholm, though. I skipped over this one. We'll go back to it. He had another big day yesterday, 2 homers, a steal. He drove in 3. And for the season as a whole, it's been 106 games, but 28 homers, 26 stolen bases. Is he the number 1 second baseman for you, or will he be the number 1 second baseman for you heading into next year? Because we have Ketel Marte, obviously, still hanging around. Bryce Terang has been number 1 this year, and he's been unbelievable. I saw it the other day when I was at the Blue Jay game. He hit I think it was his 10th home run in the month of August for Bryce Terang. So I think there is a bit of a conversation at the top there. Jazz has been brilliant. 2nd and 3rd eligibility in Yankee Stadium with that lineup. I think he'll probably be my number 1 second baseman heading into next year. But what do you think, Bubba?
Yeah, I think so. We've always said it. If Jazz could ever be healthy, he's an absolute monster. Last year we saw 147 games, 24 homers, 40 steals. Now he's thriving with the short porch and more with 28, 26, and only 106 games. Like, he's already got a career high in home runs. He's probably going to get you 30 to 35 steals by the time the season's done. So we got his first 30-30 season on our hands. I don't see how he's not the number one first or second baseman. Now, there's always going to be the concern of injury with him. That's just the reality. But when you're looking for ceiling play, it's hard to pass up on a guy like Jazz Chisholm.
And to your point, 147 last year. Assuming he finishes out healthy this year, it'll be 130-ish. That's not too bad. That's not like early Jazz Chisholm where we're seeing some 97, 60 games and things of that nature. But he's already set his career high in WAR. He's tied for his best ever WRC+. It makes me think back to that players poll they did maybe a year ago of who's the most overrated player in baseball. And his fellow players overwhelmingly picked Jazz Chisholm. Doesn't seem like that at this point, heading towards a 30-30 campaign. Let's talk about your guy, and I'm going to call him your guy, and I'll explain why in a minute. Junior Caminero, 40th home run of the season. He drove in 4 to get up to 100 ribbies for the year, 7 steals. He's hitting .262. Just a brilliant season. And I saw, I think he's the 4th player age 21 and younger to have a 40 home run season. So this has been a brilliant campaign. The way I'll phrase it to you, Bubba, is did the home and away splits worry you at all? At home, he has a 169 WRC+. Away from home, it's 84. And it looks like they are going to be headed back to the Trop next season based on some of the reports. Although who knows what's going to happen in Tampa. Do those home and away splits give you any pause? And you did pick him in the first round of that early meatball draft. So I'll give you the floor here to talk about Caminero.
They don't. And I know that's been everyone's because that's been a popular pick that people have discussed on recap shows with Caminero. And I get it. But I watched him hit bombs in San Francisco against the Giants. When he hits home runs, they're usually no doubters. Let's put it that way with him. A couple other factors here. He's going to be 23 years old, like super young. There's more development that could be taking place here. He's likely going to finish with like 45 home runs, 10 steals, 90 runs, and 115 RBIs. Like this guy is doing things that 22-year-olds should not be doing. And we might not have seen the top level of this ball player just yet. So I'm all about it. I understand the Trop is not a hitter-friendly environment. Well aware of that. But I think he can hit anywhere, and I'm going to roll with that. And let's just be real. If he hits 45 this year, okay, let's say they go to the Trop. He hits 35 next year, but still drives in 100 and scores 90 and hits 255 and steals 10. That still plays for me at a third base position.
Yeah, the first round, I feel like I go through this every single year. We know who the first 5 or 6 picks are, and then from like 7 through 17 or so, it's chaos. And you can see any kind of order go. And I could see Caminero going as high as maybe 6 or 7 and falling to maybe like a little bit past the turn. But I'm starting to buy in more and more and more. As much as I have been a little bit worried about like, okay, if they go to the Trop and if the batting average that he's put together on the road this year sticks at home. But at the same time, like you mentioned, he's 22 years old right now. He's only been 22 for a month, and he's already got a 40 home run season. So I feel like you can be a little bit concerned, but this kid is so talented. Like he really is. He's the next great third baseman along the lines of Riley, Devers, Machado. I think he's in that same conversation. So when I first saw it, Bub, I'll be honest, I was like, I don't know if he's a first rounder, but the more I've thought about it, I don't have any problem with that.
Well, let me throw this back to you because that's everyone's thing. Is I don't know if he's a first rounder. Well, in the live feed, and Rob has mentioned this when he's been on shows and others, when people ask this question, I was debating between Caminero and Francisco Lindor at that pick. I got Lindor in round 2. So if I were to flop those and Caminero's in early round 2, does that make it like no question involved in this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean,
that's fine. Yeah, so it was more like I'm going to get my guys because we don't know for 2026, where I didn't think Caminero would make it back is the thing.
That totally makes sense. And I do agree that if you see Lindor in the first, Caminero in the second, the shock value is a little bit less because when you haven't seen a player go in the first round before and then you see them, it's like, oh, wow. Okay. Schwarber went in the first round. And even though he's great, it's like, oh, okay. You don't usually see that. So it was a bit of the shock factor, but I think it's at the end of the day, you're locking in 35 home runs at the very worst with a 250, 260 batting average as a floor with potential for growth considering his age. I really like Caminero. If you could choose long-term between him and Jackson Chourio, the other super young guy, who would you take there?
You are pulling at my heartstrings. I am all about Team Chourio. I take Jackson Chourio. I think I've said it going into this season, a healthy Jackson Chourio, and yes, there was injuries this season, but still putting up a great year. Jackson Chourio is the closest thing we've seen to Ronald Acuna. He's also super young. Like I think Jackson Chourio's got 40-40 appeal, where Caminero might have 50-15 which is really good too. Like it's two different aspects, two different positions. But I think Chourio is just that total 5 category monster that in 2-3 years, maybe less, we're talking top 3 pick.
I could see it. I could definitely see it. My dad couldn't believe it when I took my dad to the game the other day. I told me this guy's 21 years old, and then Chourio proceeds to have a 3-hit game. Just a great ball player. Let's take a couple of your questions here. Still got that Krusky Merritt question in the queue. That's pretty funny. Jeff Hoffman or Ryan Walker? Jeff Hoffman right now is a freaking disaster, man. I feel like it's my guy versus Bubba's guy. I feel like I'm going to go with Bubba's guy, Ryan Walker here.
Yeah, Ryan Walker for sure. That's been a popular discussion point in the Bubba and the Bloom Discord that Jeff Hoffman, people just want to get rid of him, but I keep saying there's no one else there. Like he has picked up his 30th save on Tuesday night, but Walker's the better option.
The Jays are kind of in a spot where they don't have anybody that they could turn to with experience, nobody that is as good on a stuff level, on a strikeout to walk level. It's got to be Hoffman, I think, as much as I don't want him to be the closer, unless they go to Yarrow Rodriguez. I don't know. Maybe they go to Eric Lauer, who we'll talk about a little bit in a few minutes here. Luis Matos or Jacob Marcy rest of season? That's
a really good question. I love Luis Matos. They're trying to give him regular run, which is great to see. I'm going to go with Jacob Marcy just because I know he'll play every single day, where Matos still has a window like he sat on Monday, which was frustrating. So I'm going to go Marcy, but I love Matos.
Yeah, I think I agree, and that should speak volumes coming from a Giants fan, taking Marcy. Start Yuri today at Washington. I think I would. Washington is just so poor. I know Yuri struggled a little bit, but I think I'm rolling with him here. What do you think, Bubs?
Yeah, you got to hope for the bounce back. It was very ugly, 2/3 of an inning in his last start, but you got to hope things turn around against the Nats team. If it doesn't, then you should get concerned.
Yes, agreed. Would you trade James Wood for Junior Caminero, 10-team roto keeper? I think I would.
I think I would too, especially 10-team. That limited third base position stands out even more for Caminero. Outfield is so deep in a 10-team league, even though I think Wood is a potential 30-30 guy someday. I'd take Caminero in that format.
I think I would, yeah. I don't know that there's necessarily a wrong answer. I think it's close, but Caminero, I think, is just by a hair who we would go with. Hoffman or Tyler Phillips? As much as Hoffman's driving me crazy, I think I'm still sticking with Hoffman.
Agreed. He's got the job.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it going and talk about a couple transactions. Kyle Harrison will make his Red Sox debut today against the Guardians. Now, I was a little more excited yesterday before they destroyed Garrett Crochet. Now another lefty is going to be pitching against them today. What is your interest level in Kyle Harrison as a streamer, as a rest of season pickup?
I love Kyle Harrison, former Giant Kyle Harrison. I hate what the Red Sox keep doing with Kyle Harrison, and I'd be terrified to utilize him because as of an hour ago, there's a chance Kyle Harrison might not even start this game. It keeps changing with the Red Sox. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I saw what you saw, and it's been changed. Like literally, I'm looking at Twitter. This post came out an hour ago that they're planning on potentially not even calling Harrison up or using him as a long man, and they're looking to go a bullpen game with Dustin May working out of the bullpen, not as the starter, because originally, to what you saw, Harrison would start, May goes to the bullpen, but then reports started coming out that the Red Sox are bringing Harrison to Boston to potentially look at an injured ankle, which is the whole – there's a million weird things going on with this. I hate it all, and for that reason, to your question, I can't stream Kyle Harrison because I have no idea what the Red Sox are doing with him.
Well, given that information, I think I'd have to agree here. I didn't see that before.
No, it literally just like I remember I heard a rumor like when I was in the Discord earlier working, and then I searched it real quick on Twitter, and there it was that he might not even pitch today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the projected starters grids that I look at, and yeah, it looks like Bernardino starting, May, Zach Kelly can go multiple innings. Yep. That's brutal. It's really brutal if you're in a league where you like picked up Harrison on waivers and now you're just stuck and you don't have a move to make. But wow, that is quite the turnaround. I guess this is why you got to check Twitter right before you go live. Ha-Seong Kim was claimed by the Braves, and just based on the way the Braves tend to play their starters a lot, I think Kim is going to get everyday playing time rest of the season. I think you might have been the one that actually pointed that out on Twitter. Somebody did. I'm stealing from somebody. It might be Bubba there. But they play their regulars pretty much every single day. They haven't been great this year, but Kim, I think if you're looking for a deep league middle infield option, you could find worse, right?
I love this move. I loved Ha-Seong Kim all season. He's just been banged up with his back and his ankles, and it's never really come to fruition. But they're going to play him every single day he's healthy. Nick Allen plays good defense. Kim's a big upgrade everywhere. He hit 6th on Tuesday night in his debut with Atlanta. And Atlanta offense is actually improving of late. Weirdly enough, they're playing much, much better at the plate. So I love it. As long as he's healthy, he is going to play pretty much every day. The Braves actually came out and said that late Tuesday evening after their game. So they want to give him all intentions. And from like a real life standpoint, I know this is fantasy. I don't know what the Rays were doing. He was so cheap for next season. Like, I know they got Carson Williams, their future at shortstop, but Kim can play third, second, or short. Like I know you got Caminero. I'm not clueless, but for the price, you could have traded this guy for somebody if he's healthy next season. I am baffled by that move. And yet again, the Braves, another cheap player on their roster.
Yeah, it feels like a pretty smart move for the Braves. I saw mixed opinions of it on the internet, but it's like, what, $1 million?
They had nothing to lose for a guy that could, hit 15 home runs and steal 30 bases if he plays a full season.
And they've been trotting out Nick Allen before, who, I mean, no disrespect to Nick Allen, but he has a 52 WRC plus this season. So he's essentially half of one player.
They went Orlando Arcia to Nick Allen. Like, this is called an upgrade, folks. Like, no matter how you want to look at it.
As long as Anthopoulos keeps his hands off of Bichette this winter, we'll be fine. But
talk about at first when you introed that George Springer deal, I'm like, oh, we're talking Bo Bichette because he's been freaking amazing. But you went with the old man, which I appreciate.
As great as Bichette's been, Springer's the team MVP this year.
Yeah,
Springer is, and we'll see what Bo has done is secured himself potentially a $250 million deal. He's going to get over $200 million, I think, at this point. He's potentially going to be the batting champion, 200 hits, 20 homers. The defense is a little spotty. He's probably a second baseman in the long run, but I could talk Blue Jays all day. Actually, the next thing, ironically, on the sheet is another Blue Jays note. Who put the show sheet together today? What's going on here?
Kids.
So, these kids today, man, I'm telling you. So Eric Lauer is getting moved to the Blue Jays bullpen. He came in relief yesterday, did not cover himself in glory, but he had to come in relief because Jose Barrios lasted just 2 innings. An error did save the line a little bit, but he gave up 6 runs, 2 of them earned. I don't know if he's going to stay in this rotation because Jose Barrios is awful. I couldn't even believe it yesterday. I know we mentioned stuff earlier. Jose Barrios has a 77 stuff plus rating overall. I don't know if I'd ever seen one that bad for a regular starting pitcher who's not pitching in Colorado or a weird place that's going to mess up your stuff. He's awful. And I think that Lauer should go back into the rotation. I think there's a chance that it does happen if Barrios keeps doing this. Where you have Lauer, if you do have him, would you just cut him and be done with it or hold him for the chance that maybe he gets a few more starts?
Yeah, this was a discussion point on Monday's bench with Bubba with Ben Tidd, and it's I think you drop, but I fully agree he's going to start 1 or 2 more games for the Toronto Blue Jays this year. So it's one of those, like, you need all your roster spots this time of the year. That's kind of where it comes down to. But be ready to kind of get aggressive because it's not just the Barrios thing, as you know, and I don't have to preach Jays to you, but, Chris Bassett, he's been up and down, but he'll stick. Scherzer's dealing with the back. Like, right now, he's back to being normal and good to go, but we know Scherzer could have a thumb, a back, a neck. They made a 90s hip-hop song about him. Like, it's at any moment, he could be on, like, missing a start, and here comes Eric Lauer. So, like, it's all over the place, and I think we will see Lauer back in there and making some noise because I don't think you want to see Barrios in the postseason like last time where all hell broke loose for you.
God, that was when I actually liked Barrios, and we pulled him.
Yeah, we all did, and we were all like, "Why'd they pull him?"
three innings or something, or 2 innings.
Yeah.
Oh man, 2022. Well, I think they didn't even score a run in that game, so I don't know if it would have even mattered at the end of the day. But the Blue Jays, they do have a couple of off days coming up on tomorrow and Monday, so maybe that does mess with an extended. If they try to deepen the rotation a little bit, that might be hard with the off days, but. I do think that Lauer is probably going to see at least 2 more starts, and please, God, don't let Jose Barrios be on that playoff roster. I can't deal with it. I just can't. Let's talk about a couple rookies. Let's get out of Toronto and talk about Sal Stewart, called up by the Reds. They had him playing first base in his first couple of games, which is a little bit weird. And I heard Tito Francona. He was giving an interview. They were playing the Blue Jays. Again, I don't mean to do this, but he was talking with the Toronto broadcasters, and they said, I don't care if he makes a bunch of errors at first base. We're just bringing him up here because Steer was knocked up. We needed somewhere to play him. He's been hitting the cover off the ball in AAA this year, 20 homers, 17 steals with a 151 WRC+. Is Sal Stewart somebody that you think is worth adding in a standard 12-team league?
For now, yes. The hit tool is ridiculous. He's playing first base. He's playing for Spencer Steer, though, who has been battling a leg injury that Francona said for over a month. So now they're letting him rest as rosters have expanded. So we'll see how long he gets to rest for. Because it's been 2 games already. It's just tough. If Steer comes back, Brian Hayes' defense isn't going to get him off the field. The outfield's pretty crowded. It just kind of makes you wonder where Stewart's like, I agree if he's playing, yes, but I'm very cautious that the consistent playing time will be there right now. And that's the problem with September expanded rosters. A lot of prospects getting the call, but I don't think a lot of them are going to get the playing time we need down the stretch.
That's the thing, I get a lot of questions, and I know you do too, every day about like this player or that player. And whenever these rookies get called up, everybody loses their mind.
Mm-hmm.
But like when Basayo got called up, my questions were like, so I'm dropping Kirk and I'm dropping Drake Baldwin for him, right? And it's like, no, you're probably not. Like when you have a solidified asset performing, it's that old Family Guy thing. Like, oh, the mystery box, it could be anything, or it could be Alejandro Kirk. Like, I think if you have an asset that's performing in a spot, in they're a sure thing, you don't need to pass them up for a maybe. And Sal Stewart at this point does look like a bit of a maybe. And so does the next guy we're going to talk about, Harry Ford in Seattle, who they've called up. He has not got into a game yet, but in the minors this year, 97 games, 16 homers, 7 steals. He's walking a ton. He has a 408 on base percentage, but he's not playing right now. And I'm getting a couple questions about him. I just don't think that he's worth an ad unless something were to happen, like let's say if Garver gets hurt or something. Okay, but for now, I can't really see it.
Well, and to the additional point is if these prospects were going to get playing time, they would have been called up before September 1st. That's part of the problem here. And I love Harry Ford. I think there's a huge future for Harry Ford. Problem is there's this guy called the Big Dumper that plays a lot of catcher. I don't know if you've heard of him before. Pretty good. He's going to block him quite a bit. And so there's the Garver situation that might give him some playing time. And Ford can play the outfield as well. I think he's more there. Like you might see him pinch run with the speed later on. He'll pinch hit. He'll get a start here and there. But for the most part, the Mariners are competing for the postseason. Harry Ford is not going to be a key part in that lineup unless some injuries take place. And that's just the reality of the situation. They want to get him a couple cups of coffee, let him know what it's like. And maybe 2026 is his time to shine, because I think the Dumper eventually goes to first base and they let Ford catch.
Don't they have another catcher in their system that's fairly highly touted?
Yeah, like I cover the AL West for HQ PT tomorrow, so I dig into the minors a lot. They have some guys that are a lot of guys like 2 to 3 years out that are going to make some noise pretty soon. So, yeah, Dumper at first base makes the most sense going down the line.
I think it does, yeah, and I think Naylor is headed to free agency. Maybe
he's a free agent after this year. Yep.
Raleigh's pretty strong defensively, although not as good this year. So maybe they try and milk a couple more years behind the plate. But I think eventually, yeah, he'll be manning the number 3 spot. Let's talk about, speaking of 3 up and 3 down, Andrew Benintendi. What a day he had yesterday. 4 for 5, 3 runs and 5 ribbies. Now, most people haven't cared about Andrew Benintendi this year, nor really should they. But there have been stretches for 15-team players like you and I where he's actually had some decent value, Andrew Benintendi has.
Yeah, Benny Biceps flexing it on Monday night. And to your point, he's had his stretches. He does this, and it's a very good set of matchups this week against a bad Twins pitching staff. So wouldn't be shocked if we see another decent game. Not this type of game, decent game out of him.
Yeah, the White Sox as a whole, I mean, they're not quite as bad as I was really anticipating this year. I mean, the record's not great. Don't get me wrong. The record is pretty poor. But as an offense, I think there are some pieces here where I could look forward to next year and think, okay, I can see myself investing in some of these guys in the mid to late rounds. Pete Alonso, who is the number 1 first baseman for the season. It's been a little bit up and down as a whole, but he's been great. Like 2 for 5 yesterday, 2 solo home runs. I say it's been up and down a little bit. He started really hot, cooled off a little bit, but 33 homers, 112 ribbies, 76 runs. I feel like he's probably the number 3 or 4 first baseman off the board next year behind Vladdy and Kurtz. Does that feel about right to you at this moment?
Yeah, he's earned that right because, Olson's fallen off quite a bit, it feels like. So Pete should be locked in there at that late second, early third round, most likely.
Yeah, Harper will probably be somewhere in that range too. But you don't think so?
He's free falling. Like I think he's there on name value, but the more I looked at him going into this year and even this year, he's good. Don't get me wrong, but is he that good for fantasy? I'll let people debate that this offseason.
Well, I think the question becomes, is he worth using an early pick on when first base is looking so deep,
It's deep, and he's literally basic. Like, I guess if I'm going to throw that bomb out there on Bryce Harper, let's just real quick, we'll just – because, okay, he's played 110 games this year, 23 homers, 11 steals. He had 30 homers, 7 steals, 21-11, 18-11, 35-13. That's a lot of down seasons for a guy that's at 269, 285. So at least the average has been decent. But the counting stats, he hasn't had 100 RBI since 2019, 100 runs since 2021. Like, it's a lot of what ifs for a guy at that draft price.
I think that's totally fair, actually. Yeah, and not the healthiest player over the years.
I love Bryce Harper. Like, I love him on my team. I like his attitude and stuff, but when it comes to fantasy. Like, I think he gets drafted so high based on name value alone.
Yeah, I think that's fair, honestly. And heading into age 33 season, 32, 33 is the age when a lot of guys start to lose a step with the bat speed,
Unless
with the
they're
extra
George
velocities. Unless they're George Springer, in which case you have a Barry Bonds type resurgence at age 35, which I am absolutely here for. The last of the ups, and I try and find guys that we usually take a crap on and put them in the ups if I can. Miles Mikolas, 6 innings of 1-run ball against the A's, albeit he didn't get a strikeout, but 6 clean innings from Mikolas, or mostly clean innings, is about as much as you can possibly hope for. Let's talk about the downs. Slade Cecconi, 7 earned runs on 11 hits against Boston. He did strike out 8. I had some high hopes for Slade Cecconi, but at this point, I'm kind of throwing in the towel on him. His next start is against Kansas City, so I could see wanting to stick around for that one, but I think I'm pretty much done here, Bubba. What about you?
Yeah, I dropped him a couple weeks ago. Like, I was in on him early on. It's kind of gone downhill since they left him out too long to try to get that complete game a while back. Strikeouts are there, but the run prevention is not right now.
I remember that. It was like he had gone, and I think it was in the 8th inning that really he gave up like 3 or 4 runs and just destroyed the whole line. Man, baseball is frustrating. Fantasy baseball can be very frustrating. David Schneider 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts yesterday, and Chris Paddack had himself a horrible day. Demoted to the bullpen, came on relief, threw an inning and a third, allowed 6 earned runs on 8 hits, and then immediately went on the bereavement list after the game. So just a horrendous day for Chris Paddack. Wishing him all the best with whatever is going on. He's going to be away from the team for an undisclosed amount of time. But let's talk about the injuries, because we have some doozies to talk about. Kyle Tucker had to leave early on Tuesday with left calf tightness and has already been ruled out for Wednesday. Big concern here, Bubba?
Yeah, because he's always hurt. At least I think we know what it is this time, so that's good. And they said he's out Wednesday. They have a day off Thursday, so they're open 2 days off. He'll be back Friday. Cross your fingers, because he actually hit a home run. Like, he's showing signs of life. Like, don't go get hurt now.
I have no idea where to draft him next year. I feel like he'll be a second rounder probably, but I have no idea at this point. Another guy who's probably a second rounder, Roman Anthony, left early on Tuesday with oblique tightness, and he will have an MRI today. Now, I've already shown that I did not check Twitter right before the show, but I didn't see any updates on this one before we got going.
I hadn't seen any either. I will search the webs as we speak, but the all I saw was they were waiting for the results, and Anthony after the game said he has never felt a pain like this before, so that doesn't bode well.
That's not exactly what you want to hear. I did not see that quote. That is not good. But getting even worse, this one tugs at the heartstrings. Lourdes Gurriel diagnosed with a torn ACL in his right knee. He was trying to get out of the way of an outfielder making a catch, and he did an odd jerk motion, and his knee twisted. And there goes the ACL on Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He's missing the end of the season. It sucks because he'd just gotten hot. In August, he had, I think, 35 ribbies. He'd been great, but he is a clear drop at this point, regardless of format. Well, maybe not in your deep keeper leagues, but in every redraft league, Lourdes Gurriel is gone. Mike Trout scratched on Tuesday with a skin infection. Honestly, Bubba, I feel like most people, if you're in a standard size 12-team, 3-outfielder league, you can move on from Mike Trout, no?
Yeah, he should have moved on a while ago. Like, Trout, again, name value, but he's not worth much. The bad jokes I saw in my Discord yesterday was, oh, it's because he's allergic to Septembers. But here we are.
I was distracted by this comment, praying for a Kurtz injury. What are we doing? We're not praying for a Kurtz injury.
Oh, does he have a Rookie of the Year voting? That's got to be Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
You probably got like a plus 1,500 ticket on Rowan Anthony or something. But Nick Kurtz, we need Nick Kurtz to stay healthy, especially for a couple of my teams down the stretch. Nick Lodolo scratched from a start on Tuesday due to an illness. They're not sure yet if he'll be just pushed back or if they'll skip him altogether. So just keep an eye there in your daily lineups. Tommy Edman began a rehab assignment yesterday and will focus on playing center field exclusively for the remainder of the season. Any interest in a stash of Tommy Edman here, Bubba?
Nah, he wasn't hitting before he got hurt. I'm not going to worry about a 2-week stash of Tommy Edman.
Okay, BD is clarifying here. I mean, okay. Praying for like a not serious type of injury. That makes a lot more sense. I saw that. I was like, what are we doing here? Nick Kurtz. No, I understand what you're talking about. Jason Adam diagnosed with a ruptured quad tendon. Looks like his season is done. Pretty not good news for people in save and hold leagues, or even if you're in a standard league and you were using Jason Adam, he'd had some decent value this year. Even just as a guy who gives you the odd save, lots of strikeouts, etc. Adolis Garcia is expected to avoid the IL after suffering a quad injury on Monday in Arizona. And now this one's pretty bad. Twins have shut down David Festa for the remainder of the season. Arguably my biggest L in the preseason, that David Festa was going to be a great fantasy asset this year. So I'll completely own that one. He will visit Dr. Keith Meister in the coming days to assess his shoulder injury. That probably means we're headed for an off-season procedure of some type, and we're probably not going to have him in time for spring training. So in your early drafts, if you see David Festa falling, there will be a reason for it. He probably should not be going earlier than the top, at this point, maybe 500 picks or so. But let's get to our best bets of the day. And we got a couple of interesting ones here. Taking a lot of plus money across the board. Shane Bieber over 5.5 strikeouts. Again, targeting the Blue Jays as they face Cincinnati today. Bieber has looked really good in his first 2 starts. So getting this number at plus money, I do feel very good about. Shohei Ohtani was able to go 5 innings in his last start, and we're really seeing him start to get ramped up a little bit more here now. So over 6.5 strikeouts against a team like the Pirates, I'm very interested in taking that one. And then the Cubs run line. I haven't taken a run line bet here in a while, but it's Cade Horton, who has been looking like Greg Maddux for the last couple of months, versus Bryce Elder. And Bryce Elder, we all know what to expect from Bryce Elder. Not a heck of a lot for the season. It's a 5.85 ERA, and that essentially tells you the story there. So I think the Cubs will pull this one out by a couple of runs, and you're getting a really nice line there at plus 134. Bubba, what do you have for the people today?
Love it. 3+ money bets, Joe. We're getting this thing party started. My usual prop betting over 3 hits, runs, RBIs. Juan Soto, who's been nuclear hot of late, and the Mets have been nuclear hot of late. And you get plus 130 against Casey Mize, who has not been nuclear hot of late. So I'll take my chances. And like literally, it's one swing of the bat for Soto. We're pushing a lot of games right now. So I'm going to take that one. I'm going to go with your boy, mentioned him earlier, Bo Bichette in Great American Small Pork. Zach Lytle's been struggling. Bichette is not over 3 hits, runs, and RBIs at plus 115. And then another one I like quite a bit is Maikel Garcia of the Kansas City Royals, taking on Caden Dana, returning to make his season debut from the minors, where he was horrible for the Angels this year. Maikel Garcia has been getting on base a ton. He's scoring a ton of runs, also shows a little bit of pop. So to get plus 135 over 3 hits, runs, RBIs against a bad pitcher in Dana, not to mention a bad bullpen in the Angels, and he's hitting third for the Royals, I think there's a lot of opportunity for Maikel Garcia to come through there.
What a season Garcia's had. He's not somebody that I was in on preseason. I think I have like 1 Gladiator share, so I haven't really focused enough on what he's done this year. It's a 5-win season, according to Fangraphs WAR. 15 homers, 22 stolen bases. He's hitting 296. He's a great defender. This is a fantastic season for Garcia. If you guys are looking for any help with these bets, though, take a look at the prop bet cheat sheet. It really does help you narrow down what you should be focusing on a given day. Bettingpros.com/MLB props. Lots of new markets there. Lots of fun that you can have. And as the books start to focus more on football, you may start to be able to take advantage a little bit as baseball becomes less of a priority down the stretch. So check out the prop bet cheat sheet today, and let's take a look at the home run board and see if we have any movement. And we have a 3-way tie at the top. This is going to get interesting down the stretch here. Bees, Positive Grouch, and Whips all tied at 55 homers. George at 54, Fisher King at 53, rounding out the top 5. But that top 3 is going to get very interesting. We did have a Kyle Schwarber last week. I believe it was Bees who had Kyle Schwarber, to the chagrin of Positive Grouch. But this one is going to be interesting to follow over the final couple weeks of the season. Bubba, where are you headed today for your home run call?
We're going back to the scene of the crime in Colorado. Yesterday was Willy Adames' birthday. A 2-year-old pitching for the Rockies ruined that. Didn't allow him to get 1 at bat in that game because he couldn't handle giving up a home run to a veteran in Rafael Devers. So Willy Adames, who will probably be appealing a suspension by the time this comes out for throwing a haymaker at that petulant child, will get at least 4 at-bats in Coors Field against German Marquez and a horrible Rockies bullpen. Willy Adames has been red hot. The Giants are trying to go 17 straight games with at least 1 home run, which would be a franchise record on Wednesday. And Willy Adames will be a part of that to get his revenge on that petulant child known as Kyle Freeland.
Don't hold back, Bubba. Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, this is the cleanest way I could do it for this show. Trust me.
You know what? We went to the sheets separately. We both put these names on without discussing with each other, but I put Rafael Devers. Rafael Devers been on fire. He has been absolutely on fire against German Marquez today. You know, you mentioned Freeland's 13% homer to fly ball. For his career, Marquez is 15.6%. A guy that I always thought if he got it to Coors, maybe there'd be something there. But that ship has long sailed at this point. A couple of last questions here before we send you off. Do you think Cabrera's done for the season? I think he probably is, at least from a fantasy relevance point of view. Cabrera is probably not somebody. Edward Cabrera we're talking about here. probably is not somebody that you should be relying on at all. Grisham, Jackson for Roman replacement. I think I'm going with Jackson at this point. I mean, just ride the hot hand. They're both the hot hand.
They're both
but
hot,
Jackson's been great. I don't know. I don't really have a strong feel here, Bubba. What about you?
They're both great. I'm going Grisham just because he's done it all season. He leads off for the Yankees, got the short porch and right. Like, I'm going to go there, but can't. They're both great right now.
That's totally fair. But we'll send you on your way with that, guys. Really appreciate everybody continuing to hang out, ask your questions, like the shows. We really do appreciate you guys sticking with us here through the end of the season. And we'll be back on Friday. Myself and Bubba will be wrapping up the week. And then I'll have a special guest on Monday that I will be telling you guys about on Friday's show. That one should be a lot of fun, making his debut on Leading Off, but we'll save that one for next time. But for Casey, Bubba, I am Joe Orrico. We'll talk to you again next time right here on the Fantasy Pros Baseball Podcast. Did we get an Oasis update? I don't think I did it on the show here, maybe a little bit, but it was a great concert. If you have a chance to go and see Oasis, it was a fantastic, fantastic show. I am poor now. I am now poor because I went to that show, but if you can do it, you should definitely get a chance.
Is that POUR?